Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now today is Sunday, so you know what that means. We're going around the net with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. And on the docket for today, we have all the blue chips checking in. We have Citi adding a new transfer partner. We have Chase upping their hotels program for the Sapphire card. Of course, we have Delta's course correction, if you will, on their Sky Miles changes. And the big story of the week was American Express continuing to revamp their credit card lineup, this time focusing in on the Hilton line. So we will cover all of it. So of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, the first two stories here will be quick hits, just some things to keep in mind or be aware of, and then we'll start with Citi. So Citi, in the classic will they, won't they start taking travel more seriously, bring out their Strata cards, this, that, and the other. They have at least added another transfer partner to the lineup, this time for hotels. So specifically, they're adding Leading Hotels of the World, which is a cool name if nothing else. I don't know anything about it, and I've never heard of them, admittedly, but we can borrow from 1 mile at a time. And so they call Leading Hotels of the World is a collection of independent luxury hotels with 400 plus properties in 80 countries around the globe. Now the transfer ratio you're looking at is odd. It's a transfer ratio of 5-to-1, so 5 thank you points to 1 luxury hotels point, I guess you could call it. Now OMAT is valuing Leaders Club, I guess that's their system, what they call their system, at 8 cents per point. So if you do have the math, you're looking at your Citi points being around 1.6 cents per point, which isn't awful. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not awful. I think it's an option. I mean, considering most Citi points, as always, if you're going through their portal or transfer, you're looking at 1 cent per point anyway. So this isn't terrible. Again, if you've stayed at any of these properties, let us know down below. But again, it is nice to see Citi adding some more options there. Now we have Chase, not to be left out, and I forget this, so maybe you're aware of this already, but Chase does have their own version of like fine hotels and resorts specific for the Sapphire card. Well, that program is actually getting a boost as well, adding some new properties to the mix. So let's take a look at this. And of course, here we have it. This time around, Chase is adding 118 four-season properties to the Luxury Hotel and Resorts program. Of course, this program, again, in case you're like me and forget, is available when booking through, of course, Chase Travel Portal and holding a Sapphire Reserve card. So no love for the Sapphire Preferred, just the Reserve on this one. Now, of course, we love a good media quote, and we have one here. The growing curated network of the most sought-after luxury hotel and resorts is now available in 360 markets globally. Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts will represent the largest brand in the program with 118 properties around the world, as we said, providing Chase Sapphire Reserve card members with more global access to a trusted list of vetted properties with special benefits throughout their travels. And what are those benefits? Now, these benefits aren't specific to these properties. This is just what you've always gotten in the program. So you get a $100 resort credit, daily breakfast for 2, room upgrades, of course, when available, and early or late checkout based on availability. Again, I really don't think it's a bad program. FHR is, especially the credit and the program, is actually one of the Platinum Card's better perks. Again, assuming all things equal, booking directly versus the travel portal. So again, nice to see them stepping up and being a little bit more competitive there. Now, the two big stories. We will first start with Delta. So, Delta's been in the news probably for the last month, from everything from signing Tom Brady as an ambassador to, more notably here, messing up their Sky Miles program and the Delta Sky Club lounges. Now, Delta, to their credit, at least you could say, they did listen to the outrage, the backlash, and sort of said, okay, we will make adjustments. We went too far, too fast. I'm summarizing the quotes there. We've talked about it in previous shows, but again, saying we did too much too soon is not the same as saying, hey, totally my bad, we went too far. It's saying, well, we just tried to get there too fast, but we're gonna get where I want to be. That is how I take it. But that's a problem for future us and future episodes to discuss. What we have to discuss today is the changes, or the corrections, I guess would be the best way to put it. So Delta put out a press release. I'll put this on screen. We will go through the highlights of it and see what they've changed. Now, Again, they have a summary, but everything will also be linked for you as well over on profitablecontent.com, the press release. But again, Sky Club changes, we'll start with that because that's probably what people want to know about the most. So the Delta Reserve card, that's the purple one, will now receive 15 passes per year. Originally it was going to be 10. Of course, it's currently sitting at unlimited passes. The Platinum card, the regular Platinum card from American Express, they'd go from 6 visits to 10 visits. Of course, it's unlimited now. The big change here is that a visit is basically a day. So it's basically a day pass, meaning you're still allowed to go in on departure, on connecting, and arrival as well. And as long as it's within a 24-hour period, that's one visit. That is a very nice touch. You can also, I think, get more for $50 a visit or a day after it's used, which is nice. So, of course, next up is MQD. So, again, this is medallion qualifying dollars. They were changing from a system of having segments and miles. That's still staying the same. The only change here, really, is that you're going from silver, for example, is going to be 6,000. Now it'll be 5,000 MQDs. Gold was going to be 12. Now it's 10. Platinum was going to be 18. Now it's 15,000. Diamond, again, was going to be 35. And now it's moving down to 28. They are leaving in place what they call head starts for card holders. So American Express, Delta, Platinum, and Reserve cards will receive 2,500 MQDs towards status each year, kind of a little jump start, if you will. And of course, they do have some new choice benefits as well. So you could buy a Sky Club around reintroducing the Delta Sky Club individual membership for Diamond Medallion members, I guess, but that's the level you have to be at for choice benefits. You could also buy bonus miles if you're Diamond Medallion. Platinum Medallion can buy some as well. You do get travel vouchers and then Wheels Up statement credit as well. But again, you got to be Diamond for that. You saw how much you have to spend to be Diamond. So those are your modifications, of the ones most folks will care about. Overall, on one hand, I mean, the lounge one's probably going to be the most controversial. Status is really hard to get, really hard to chase. It used to be a lot of travel and spend. Now it's just clearly a lot of spend. Clearly, they are putting an emphasis on how much money you spend. That's all they really want. It makes a lot of sense. The lounges, I mean, it still hurts because the cards didn't change value, right? They still cost $700 and $550 respectively, and I used to get unlimited. Now I'm just getting passes. The passes are better, slightly better, because they at least clarified now a day visit, a full day, which does honor the old terms where you could go on arrival, departure, and you're connecting. So that is somewhat better. And objectively, 10 passes for most people is probably fine. Because again, it probably keeps you from doing I'm just going to stop in because I want to or because I can, and limit it to when you need to. But even though it's probably fine, it still hurts because they took away something and they didn't give me anything back. That's why it hurts. But those are your Delta changes. Again, I think after some time we will see them slightly move up pricing or spend requirements even more. Because again, they didn't say they were wrong. They just said we went too far too fast. So those are your Delta changes. It is an improvement. And again, like I said, at least they did listen and make some changes. Although the cynic in me wonders if they didn't have 2 versions of this already. And they went with version 1, the more aggressive one, and they hurried up and flipped it back to version 2. That could have also happened, but we'll never know. Now, the biggest story of the week is another American Express story, and that is American Express continuing to go through their whole product lineup and refreshing cards, changing terms, things like that. We had noticed, again, it's not an amazing, premonition here, but the Hilton lineup was the last lineup to be untouched, and well, that is now changing. So Hilton, all the personal Hilton cards are getting a fresh coat of paint, but the Surpass and the Aspire are getting complete refreshes as well, which of course means they are now more expensive. So let's take a look at this, see what you get for the Hilton Faithful. So first up, we'll start with the little brother, which is the Hilton Surpass. The Honors card, no annual fee, doesn't get any changes. So we'll start with the Surpass. Annual fee is now $150. I believe it used to be $95, so you're looking at a $55 price hike. Multipliers, 12x Hilton purchases, 6 back on dining, 6 back on groceries, 6 on gas, 4 on online retail purchases, and 3 back on everything else. And in typical American Express fashion, they do specify US for all these multipliers. Benefits here, you're still getting your Hilton Gold status. You do get a $200 Hilton credit paid out $50 per quarter, of course, and the free night award is still available with $15,000 in spend per year. Those are your highlights. Now, the Aspire card, the big brother here, annual fee jumps up $100 from $450 to $550. Multipliers, you're looking at 14 back on Hilton, 7 back on travel, 7 on dining, 3 back on everything else, of course, still U.S. only. Benefits, you're still getting the diamond status. You've got the anniversary free night award. You're picking up a $400 resort credit paid out and $200 semi-annually, so twice a year. You're looking at a $200 flight credit paid out $50 per quarter. Clear Plus membership, I think those are going for like $180, something like that, $190, something like that. $100 Hilton on property credit, and you do add cell phone insurance as well. So those are your changes, plus the new paint jobs as well. Now, most notably, you do lose lounge benefits in the form of Priority Pass. The Surpass card had 10 visits. The Aspire just came with a Priority Pass membership. I don't think they're not going to cut you off right away, but I just don't think your membership will renew. You also lose the old version of the flight credit as well. I think it's a $250 airline credit. So, it might surprise people, but actually out of all the changes they've done, I don't think these are crazy. I actually feel like the Surpass gets it a little bit worse, because for me, the Surpass at $95, gold status used to get you the breakfast, now it gets you the beverage credit or food and beverage credit, whatever they're calling it. But it was like a decent starter mid-tier card that worked for a lot of people. And then the lounge passes were nice because you could use them when you needed them, which is kind of funny because here in the Surpass, I'm saying, yes, lounge passes are good. But on a story a second ago, I said lounge passes are awful. But again, one was unlimited, one was not. So the Surpass, I actually think, gets it worse here. It's not terrible, but it's worse. Now, the Aspire card, again, this might surprise you, but I'm not overly upset. And again, it's easy for me to say because I don't hold any of these cards. But with the Aspire, like, it was kind of overpowered to begin with. $450 was, people hold multiples of these cards because, again, that award night is not capped, and you can use it at the majority of properties any day of the week, which you can't say that about even like Marriott. So at one point you had Marriott, the Brilliant card, sitting at $650, and Hilton's giving you their diamond status and an uncapped night for $450. Plus some other stuff that you may or may not be able to use. So, for that reason, moving it to $550, I still think the Aspire is actually a good card. Honestly, as far as the credits go, I think they're annoying, but they're more usable. So you've got the semi-annually deal, you've got the quarterly deal, so you do have to remember, and of course they didn't give you all the credits up front, and we kind of end up in this struggle with the lenders, or the partner probably, because it doesn't take much to look at these cards and say, yep, I can just hold this card, leave it in my desk drawer, and use it once a year for the award night. They obviously know that, and I don't think you have to be that smart or that involved in this game to figure that out. So they're trying to get people to use these, so I think it's reasonable. Presumably, you could at least go into a Hilton, a local Hilton that has gift cards maybe, and buy one. That might work. We don't know yet. Someone will have to test. Or maybe you do know. Again, this isn't necessarily like my wheelhouse per se, so it might have already worked. But I think they're somewhat reasonable. I think they're easier to use because at least it is a flight credit, and we no longer have to deal with the hey, what counts, what doesn't count, how can I find my workaround? So in my opinion, for a lot of these, you trade having to do weird workarounds, like does paying the taxes and fees trigger the airline credit, does it not, to it'll work directly on what you want it to work for, but unfortunately they're paid out quarterly. I would also assume that, since most of these hotel bookings and flights are prepaid, it will post and it will trigger the credit. So that should make it a little bit easier as well. So, I think I bash American Express a lot. I try to look at it fairly each time. And, you guys are feel free to tell me if I'm wrong down below. I just don't think they're that terrible given what you still get for the Aspire, especially looking at Aspire versus Sapphire Reserve, same price point. Again, Sapphire Reserve's more travel agnostic than anything else, where obviously Hilton's a hotel card, but I feel like you get a little bit more on the Aspire. Aspire versus the Marriott Brilliant card. I feel like Hilton gives you their best status and an uncapped night. I know the Brilliant did better than a lot of fans out there, but it was $250 cheaper, $200 cheaper. Now it's still $100 cheaper. Still lean Hilton, card for card. I think the best competitor would maybe be the Ritz-Carlton card, which you can't even get directly anymore. It's still a very good card, hotel-wise anyway, so I don't think it's crazy. But that's the last product family to see them tweak. Now, again, I think next year we'll see the gold and the platinum, get their full-on refreshes as well. They've just been tweaking the rules, so we'll have to see that. But overall, let me know what you think about the Hilton changes, the Delta changes, and what else have you seen going on. This action-packed week we had, of course, pretty nice coming off of a short week the previous week. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the news. So, of course, if you would like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, so we're posting content just like this every single week, and right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that was in credit and finance. Of course, every single day over on ProfitableContent.com, where we have the latest news stories, we have bank promotions, and we have credit card offers. So if you like the new Hilton cards, well, we have links for those. Go ahead and check them out. Get yourself a new card with a fresh coat of paint and a lot of points to boot. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this one. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon this week.